It is November. We haven't recorded since we got back from KnobCon.
Good old KnobCon.
Yeah.
Knobkin.
Good old KnobCon.
Do we have a review of that? Do we want to talk about it? I mostly forgot, actually.
Yeah, because it was kind of forgettable.
Yeah.
The highlight for me,
You know? Like,
all I remember is going to the Cheesecake Factory.
yeah.
We did that.
Cheesecake Factory rocked.
It really, you flipped the script on Cheesecake Factory.
Mm-hmm.
You were not a fan before this.
I went from a total hater to a fan. I signed up to the Cheesecake of the Month fan club. No.
Is that real?
I hope.
Yeah.
The structure stole the show at KnobCon. I think that was like, I know that was the main thing that I remember looking back.
Not only the at the booth, but then when they were using it for the performances that one night, it was exciting to see it in action. I just wanted to leave with one. I don't care if it's just raw breadboard or whatever.
There was two of them in action. It was pretty sweet.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard to describe, I guess, a video module by talking about it. But yeah, like I haven't seen anything else like that in the video synthesis world. I think it's going to change the game. 3 years we've been watching it develop every KnobCon.
Yeah.
And this was the closest version to being a complete product I think that we've ever seen.
Yeah, yeah.
He was showing off all the randomization features, all that stuff. It was pretty cool.
What did they say for release? Did they say like fall or something?
He said November.
He said November.
It's supposed to be this month, but I haven't seen anything saying it's coming soon, so might be looking at a winter release.
I mean, I think it is a small company, so it's not surprising that they may not have the most robust manufacturing process.
Erogenous tones.
That is who it is.
I don't think we mentioned who's doing it.
Yeah.
I think we may have mentioned it
in the past.
In the past, because every time we come back from KnobCon, I think they are included in our best of, because it's always very exciting.
Yeah. There was a lot of video stuff in general this year.
Oh, yeah.
Well, actually, we got a presentation from Lars from LXR.
Yeah.
Or not.
That was good.
LZX.
Very informative.
Yeah, that was great.
Yeah.
It was a packed house.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, cleared up a lot of stuff for me about video synthesis. It was very informative, and he presented it kind of simply with examples. So that was a really good highlight of the trip for sure.
Yeah, I think if he were to do more in the future, and dip into more advanced stuff, I think people would attend. He seemed to be surprised that there were so many people.
Yeah.
And there was a lot of people that had more advanced questions that I don't think he was counting on.
Right.
It was meant to be like a real 101 type of class, and people were hungry for more. But aside from that, I can't. There isn't anything that sticks out in my head about this KnobCon.
One thing that kind of sticks out for me, and it was more after KnobCon that I got more into it, was that 512 sequencer by the guy who makes the numerology software. It's like 32 or something HP, like 8-knob sequencer with a bunch of like buttons below it, a bunch of inputs and outputs. But
I think I missed that.
Yeah, it looks like really. It was kind of the booth, like 2 booths over from where Russ was.
Okay.
But yeah, it looks like super full featured. It looks like he's trying to share code between the numerology app and this sequencer. It had a lot of interesting probabilistic and like algorithmic functions to it in the way you could do like stuff with steps that I haven't seen much outside of software, or like something like a Circlon, which is much more expensive and like hard to get. But it's interesting, but I'm also like, I'm not really wanting to dive into a new sequencer right now.
How many tracks was it?
I think it was 8, but it also had a cool mode where you could like Ableton style like step through clips in like a session view. So it was built for also playback of the sequences that you make.
Kind of like Carbon?
Yeah, very similar to that.
Nifty.
Now, was this real? I mean, this was something that was out and available, or is it like prototype?
He's been working on it for a while. It used to be like a prototype with like a wood panel, and this one he had looked finished. And it seems like if you email him, he will tell you like sometimes he'll be like, "Oh, I have one I can ship you," but he's not at like full like production release. Wow. But it seems like it's kind of like an ER301 thing where the hardware is stable. It's just all about software now.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, but it looks impressive. I think it's in comparison to some of the other Eurorack sequencers I've used, it was a little more straightforward. with complexity and not necessarily as abstracted away from like, oh, I just want to do this note-based sequence and have a little keyboard on it, which is one of my favorite things about the pyramid. Is just put like just a little stupid keyboard on there that I can use to make sense of notes. But looked pretty cool. I'll be tracking it for sure.
I mean, there were two things that I remember from NobCon. The first was apparently there's a Stomper module.
Oh yeah,
right in the 1U tile.
Yeah, that was mind blowing. It was very exciting. The guy who had it was super chill. I don't even know if I got his name or his company. I basically just all I remember was Stomper module, and one of them was 1U. I had thought to like go back and like try to track one down or get one. Well, and the other one was the that Arduino Shield.
Oh, the Detroit Underground
thing.
Yeah.
Again, I think we talked about this right after we left. Of like, I'm not necessarily like, I don't think I'm gonna go get one.
Yeah.
But it's a really cool idea.
Yeah. To have like the analog logic stuff available, that was the twist really over just a straight like Arduino Shield.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that was pretty cool. But yeah, again, like I'm glad they got funded. The Kickstarter was successful, but I'm not trying to. I'm moving more and more away from wanting to like program stuff to make it do things.
Is the Kickstarter over for that?
I think so.
I didn't keep track of it.
Yeah, because we got the flyer for the Kickstarter, which was either happening or
It had just started.
It had
was
just started
2 days in at that point, which is smart.
I mean, the only thing from NobCon, the other thing I was going to say was it was cool to see that WMD sequencer with two of them, because we had seen it last year. That weird gate.
Right.
I forgot about that. Yeah.
And we'd seen it with just one of them, and it was pretty cool. And they were like, "Oh, you can chain them. There could be two of them." And this year they had two of them, and it was kind of cool to see them interacting and having like this monstrous fucking sequencer. It seemed pretty cool, and it seemed like it's got to be getting close to being finished.
What's it called again? Mellotron?
I forget.
Metron?
Metron.
Yeah,
Something
I think it's
like
Metron.
that.
But yeah, it was pretty dope. The 2 Daisy Chain was cool, and we got to see him perform live with that.
Yeah,
in action.
right.
That was pretty nice. But it seems like just one would also, be pretty good.
Oh, there was a lot of functionality in just one, but yeah.
4 tracks, I think. Maybe it was more.
I think there's more than that. There's 4 rows. What's surfaced on the actual hardware is 4, but I think there was a way to get more than that out of it.
Yeah, I like that. I forgot all about it, though. I don't know why, because that was the thing that like he gave a pretty in-depth presentation for us, and then while he was performing live, I was trying to keep an eye on, how he was hitting the sequencer and calling things up. It was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, WMD. Once again, no sign of shit. What's it called?
Gamma Wave.
Yeah, Gamma Wave Mark II. Though I was really hoping to see one.
Yeah,
see a glimpse.
Same here.
It's back in the void. It was there like twice in prototype form, right? And then poof.
Yeah.
No words.
No ETA. No nothing.
Yeah, it was almost more like it was what was missing was what stood out from this NobCon. Like we all wanted. We had the Zadar. Infection at that point, so we wanted to see one of those in action. There was nothing like that there. A few other things. Noise engineering. There was no noise engineering there, really.
Yeah, there was no Erica synths present.
Right.
No noise engineering. No Zadar. A grip of the things that were drawn on our like top list weren't there.
Yep.
Thus concludes another NobCon.
Yeah.
Halloween has come and gone.
It has. Would you guys go as?
I went as a nerd at a house party in my house where I sat here and played Call of Duty. Yeah. But I did have a craving for a horror movie. And I didn't have my hopes up, because there's never anything good around Halloween in the theaters, like ever.
True.
It's always another like Saw sequel, or like Paranormal Activity shit,
The nth version of some shitty franchise. Yeah.
Some found footage bullshit or some haunted house shit. I don't know. So I didn't have my hopes up, but looked online, and I guess Venom has done so horribly that the IMAX took it out and put in the new Halloween movie, which I didn't even know existed. So that got me pretty stoked. It was fantastic. It's a direct sequel to the original Halloween. So Carpenter's heavily involved again, not only with the direction but the soundtrack.
Nice.
And so it's him and his son, I think it's Cody Carpenter, did the score. And just hearing that, the original Halloween theme and everything else that they did through the IMAX sound system, it was pretty good. It's very old school. It was like when you get a craving for a food, but you're not sure what that food is.
Yeah.
And you just go to a random restaurant and you end up like just leaving completely satisfied. That was my Halloween film experience. It was great soundtrack, old school. They kept it gory and just, it wasn't ridiculous jump scare bullshit.
Right.
It's just Michael Myers walking around town slaughtering people for 2 hours, and then it's a wrap. It's like, that's exactly what I needed.
As it should be.
Around Halloween. Yeah. Still got the music in my head. It was like, it wasn't like overdone. You know what I mean? Like, it was the Halloween theme, but a little bit like modernized, and they used it sparingly. There was just some nice like drone work here and there to make tension. So, thumbs up the Carpenter. The Carpenters, I guess.
Not the band The Carpenters.
No, not the band The Carpenters, but the John and Cody.
Gotcha.
Father and son, keeping it real.
I'm glad to hear that. I want to check it out at some point. My friends who do they do a horror movie podcast just recently did Halloween H2O.
Oh, jeez. That was actually the last Halloween that I had seen, which is why I wasn't too hopeful for this one.
Yeah, they tore it apart. And the one thing, though, that I remember, there's a litany of problems that they listed with it, but the one that I had not really thought about before was, I don't want a jump scare in my Halloween movie.
Right.
Like, what's terrifying is his slow, relentless pursuit.
Yes.
Like, he's going to get you, and if it's not now, he'll get you later.
Yes.
Like, you haven't escaped him, but like, I don't want like him running someone down. It's just, he shows up when you least expect it, and you think you've gotten away, and then you turn the corner or you open up a door, and there he is, and then you're dead.
There he is.
I vaguely remember H2O, except that Curtis was in that one again.
Yeah.
But she wasn't really like true to her character.
I mean, it was her and her character, but like, it had made a horrible, horrible turn.
She was in this new one.
Oh,
again,
Yeah.
which I forgot to mention, and she's fucking badass, dude.
That's cool.
She plays old grandma, like she's worried about her daughter, who she apparently raised up to be completely paranoid her entire life of this boogeyman, Michael Myers, who she thought didn't exist. So they all think, oh, my mom's crazy, and then she has a daughter. And she tries to like raise her granddaughter the same way, and her mom won't let her near her. And she's like, keep your Looney Tunes shit away from my daughter, blah, blah, blah. You know what I mean? So she's just like this crazy grandma who has this fortified shack in the woods with all these stockpiled weaponry, waiting for the day that Michael Myers would be up for parole, so that if he got out, she would slaughter him herself. Like, that was the whole plot.
Wow.
Yeah, it was awesome. It was great. It was good.
Also, related kind of tangent. I was in a bar in Seattle a couple days ago and caught like 10 minutes of Cape Fear and realized like, holy shit, I got to rewatch that movie like as soon as possible.
So let's discuss this quickly, because I know you ordered one, Dave. I don't know if you got one yet.
What?
I didn't order it, but the 2 HP cat.
No, I did not.
I did not order it.
You didn't?
No.
You resisted?
I
I thought for sure you would get that.
It was in the cart. I got I'm ready to do this, and I like did the full on like whoa, slow down. Is there any chance you're going to use this after the first day that you get it? And then I even tried to talk myself into it. I'm like, okay, no, wait, well, I mean, it's a good noise source. Like, I did the full, like, there was a part of my brain that was like, you want to get this module. And then the other part of my brain's going like, dude, no, I did not get it.
I'm impressed you resisted. I thought for sure you'd have like 3 of them.
Thank you. And it was an internal struggle. Like, as I'm watching the video of it, like, I'm just sitting there and I'm just like grinning from ear to ear. I'm like, this is the most delightful thing I've ever fucking seen. And then when they send like a little like sequence to it, so it's like a little singing cat, I'm like, oh, you fuckers. This is just full on manipulation.
Yeah, it's one of those things where I'm like happy that it exists,
Yeah.
but I don't have any real need for it in my rack.
I mean, just anything with like lighthearted that isn't super serious. I think maybe there is a room for that type of stuff.
Yeah, even just the day I saw it, I remember I was just having like a rough day, and I saw it, and I'm like, that is one thing that is not awful and terrible. Thank you. Thank you, universe. That is one thing. But yeah, speaking a little of KnobCon, I bet this is on your list. What do you think about that Nebula 2? Because you got one of those, and I'm kind of curious to see where you sit with it.
I didn't put it on my list because I actually haven't been diving too far into it.
Gotcha.
But with what I have done with it so far, I like it, but I'm also waiting for the new firmware to come out, which they've been teasing for a couple weeks now.
I see.
Because there's a couple things I could complain about, but the one thing that I guess is what everyone's complaining about the most is the fact that you can't render the buffer to the card.
Oh, I see.
So like you can't save whatever you record.
Right.
It's kind of strange. You're either using source material from the card or you're using stuff in the buffer. You can't really take one and put it to the other.
Does like the Morphogene do that? Will it kind of record itself?
Yes,
Oh,
you can record a Morphogene. If I recall correctly, yeah, you can save whatever you have going on there, and you can continuously like resample shit with the Morphogene. But they've been saying with the new firmware that's something they want to implement. It's just it wasn't there yet. And they were looking for suggestions also for this next firmware. The suggestion I proposed to them was that the file button not just be like linear. Like right now, whatever you have on the card, you can change, from file to file by hitting the file button or hitting it with a trigger. I said it would be cool if there was a mode where it could be like randomized. Like anytime you hit the file button with a gate, it would randomly select a file from the card.
Or like you could CV it. So at this voltage, it would play this file. At this voltage, it would play this file.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't know, because, it just receives a gate, so I don't know if there's any way they could make it scale like that. Like if it reads like, I don't know, between 1 to 5 volt or something like that. I don't know. But that was something I thought would be cool. It would be basically break core in a module.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You just load it up with your pre-sliced, tempoed breaks or whatever, and then you can just start bouncing between them and manipulating them. It would be a lot of fun, I think.
So when you hit file, does it start...
File number 1, and then it goes to file number 2.
And they start from the beginning as they play? Is there no...
Yes. I think it'll still play the last file that got played until it receives a new play trigger.
Gotcha. Okay.
So you can switch files until you hit play again. I don't remember off the top of my head. Me personally, I haven't even been using it as a sampler at the moment. I haven't even put anything new on the card. I've been using it more in real time as a buffer manipulator, kind of like clouds.
Yeah.
That's essentially what I've been doing, is making it like clouds. You know what I mean? Like recording stuff into it, bouncing between wet and dry, and fucking with the grains and all that. I've even been running it into clouds for dual, mangling.
As a cloud substitute, how's it hold up?
I think it would hold up, as a substitute for clouds, but at the same time, I don't know. Clouds has its alternative modes, which, although some people don't like, I've always enjoyed more, and I think that's why it makes clouds shine.
Yep.
You get all that extra versatility in it. Yeah. But I don't know. If I had to pick one or the other, I don't know what I'd pick. That'd be a tough choice between clouds and nebula, but I think they go hand in hand pretty well. But yeah, so I haven't had a chance to dive too deeply into nebula, but I'm looking forward to, diving deeper, especially when the new firmware comes out.
What are you planning to put on the card if you are going to use it?
Well, I'd like to record stuff right from the modular on the, you know what I mean? I would like to get a good rhythm going on the modular, be able to record it in there and bounce the buffer to the card so that I have 8 chunks recorded of that rhythm that I can then manipulate and randomize and play back.
So you're thinking of it as another buffer, almost you've got the memory buffer, but then you also have what you're writing to the card that you can fuck with.
Yep.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It seems like you could do some really interesting layering.
Exactly. You take a simple sequence and all of a sudden, you have something way more complex and layered. That's what I'm looking forward to doing. Making shit complicated. Enough about me. Let's discuss something that we've all had a hand in.
Yeah. Wait, we've all had a hand in as far as using it. To be clear, we did not make this.
Zadar, or as DivKid pronounced it, Zadar.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not sure which is the proper pronunciation, but I'm sticking with Zadar.
I like saying Zadar better. It sounds more like sci-fi.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I guess the better way to put this is, does anyone have a single bad thing to say about it?
No.
Let's just start with that, because like I don't, and I've seriously thought about getting a second one.
Yeah, it's one of my favorite ever. Love it for envelopes. Kind of changed my system around. I got that SSF Muton mainly because like it's going to pair up with that so well, and the fact that it has that output attenuator means that I don't need like some input attenuator for the CV on the Muton. I can just handle it there, and I was like, oh, that's what kind of sold it for me. Yeah, the shapes and the modulation and the way you can save presets, like it's just so well thought out, and like single click for the analog to digital mode, which is fucking brilliant. Like they really killed it.
I have one minor complaint. I'm a pessimist, Dave. I will always find the problem.
I even came to the table and was like, you know what? I love this thing. I got no complaints.
Don't get me wrong. I love it. I just think that so they have 4 knobs, right? Each of which you can push and get a secondary function out of it.
Yep.
Except for the one, the voltage knob, I believe, right?
Wait, really?
Yeah, I think you're right. It'll go faster if you push it in.
Yeah.
I don't think there's another mode. I think
Right. I was thinking it would be nice that if you push that button, it would toggle on the loop on and off.
Oh, that would be great.
It kills me to agree with you, but that's a brilliant idea.
Thank you. It's a great option, and it's the one thing that you have to kind of dive into the menu to enable. Everything else, like I've barely gone into that menu.
One thing that I haven't, I've seen a few videos of people using it as an oscillator that were fucking incredible, and I haven't tried that yet too much. I've used it as like looping LFO, but not at audio rate.
Yeah, me neither.
The one video I heard was like ridiculous. I thought it was like a noise engineering oscillator or something like that. It was so like odd.
Yeah, another shout out to DivKid. He did a video with it as like a quad oscillator, and that was pretty damn cool. And he had like one channel as an oscillator and the other channel like CVing it while it was being oscillated. You know what I mean? It was. I was like, that's what I'm talking about right there. Yeah, I mean it's a hell of a module. So much functionality crammed into, what is that? 8, 10, 12,
Yeah, I think
12?
12?
Is that
I think
12?
it's 12.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think it's 12.
4
it's
channels.
You think it's 10?
Well, think of it as how many 4 HP you could
4.
fit in there. I don't think you could do 3.
Yeah, I think that's 10.
All right, maybe it's 10.
But I like too that it's like I looked at the manual one time to look at some function I didn't know about. You could easily traverse it with no issues.
Yeah.
And it sounds good. Like it's I got that and was like, I don't know why would I want an analog envelope again? Like I don't know. Cuz like it gets super tight in the way you can switch the modes. Like I don't see any reason to have them anymore, I think, because of that.
10 HP.
10 HP. All right, fine, you're right. Hope you're fucking happy with yourself.
I am.
Good fucking job.
Yeah, I sold a couple of my envelopes since getting it, and I'm definitely thinking of just slapping a second one in there, and
Yeah, same here.
that'll probably handle all of my envelope duties.
I mean, I even got rid of the Quadra, because the only thing that was different it had the it could take a gate and hold. It was really the only thing that was different between
I see.
that the Zadar doesn't have, and and it's so easy to dial in what I want it to do by just all of the shaping functions are like, well, this is actually easier than trying to figure out how long to have that fucking gate open in order to get the envelope that I want. Why don't I just put it on this fucking, like I can just do it in that much easier.
Yeah, there was some people complaining in the muff thread for it, saying like, they wanted hold and they wanted all these other like basic analog envelope functions.
That's the classic
it.
function of like from the 60s, and I love their response was like, that's cool, that's what they fucking did in the 60s. This is what I'm trying now.
Yeah, I mean those exist.
Yeah,
exactly.
That's a solved fucking problem.
If you want that, there's plenty of choices out there for that. If you want something a little different, something a little off the rails, there's Zadar.
For me too, it like opened up the ornament and crime even more, because I was using that as more of a modulator, and now I don't. It's more, how can I make that thing fuck up the Zadar? Like there's one preset I have where it's like you hit it with a gate and it wobbles like fucking jello, and like slows down with the gravity in that I forget what it's called, the ornament and crime one where it simulates gravity and the bouncing ball type thing.
The one with the circle, like the circles on the screen. Oh, no.
It's the one that literally you see it drop down.
Yeah.
You get 4 channels of that. Those two are fucking. It's usually in that mode now, just to throw that kind of gravity type shit at it from a CV perspective. Getting crazy sounds out of that.
That sounds awesome.
Mm-hmm. Such a good design. Like they really just fucking smashed it.
Yeah, they nailed it. I mean, it's pretty much what I would expect from a weird envelope in the year 2018. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
And it seems like none of us had problem ones, but based on that Muffs thread, people that are having problems are having them addressed immediately.
Yeah, it seems like a hardware type thing more than software, which I think was our concern. Where it's like, if it crashed ever, that would be disappointing. But if it's just some hardware glitch, then fuck it.
Who suggested in the email thread about the Mordax data along with it?
I was talking. Yeah,
that put a little worm in my ear about it, because now I'm looking at those and I'm like, oh yeah, that would be sweet to be able to see like all 4 channels in real time. I mean, the screen does a good job of showing you what you're messing with currently, but
and I think it was from the DivKid video is where I first saw him putting it, and I was like, and each screen is fine. Like I go to A, I'm like, okay, I get a sense of what A is doing. I go to B, and also seeing them all in real time and all this, that would be incredible to have. Well, that turned out to be not controversial. Do we have anything that's controversial where we're gonna like fight, or we're gonna have like a good screaming match?
I want more racist modules. I don't.
I'm glad you clarified that. Yeah, I mean, the only thing I have is visual Cortex.
Oh fuck yeah, you got that.
Yeah, I don't really know how much to say, because as we pointed out before, radio and podcasting is not a visual medium. All I could say though is I'm getting a ton of shit out of it. Just it, because one of the things I was a little worried about is not having a ton of their modules, or the modules that are specifically designed for video. But it turns out the one real limitation is you need to have something that goes above 30K, and it turns out the Dixie does. So I have one that can go above well into to the supersonic range, and then any of the other oscillators that I have handle the other dimension. There are a couple of things that I would like to get.
That's what I was going to wonder. Like, what is it? What are the gaps you want to fill in now?
The main gap that I want to fill in is what the staircase does, which multiplies and divides. I send it a frequency, and it does multiplications and divisions. But honestly, I think that's it. Everything else I have with existing audio modules.
Now, to step back for a minute for our listeners, this is the LZX. Which one is it again? The name exactly?
This is the Visual Cortex.
Visual Cortex. So it was like the out of stock forever. And nobody could get it. And it's kind of a basic, like, what is it? Like starter system for video synthesis, really.
Yeah, it's basically their like basic primitive toolkit in one module, and it's big. It's a big honkin' thing. But what it allows you to get is video input. So it turns these different video signals into usable signal within itself. It has a ramp generator. It has different ways in order to do the sync generation. And then it has a mixer for the different like animation and key generators, and all of its module level, all of it, and it takes a lot of stuff from existing audio modules. So I can do animations with LFOs. You can do pretty much everything with just that and an audio system. And especially after seeing Lars's talk on at KnobCon, filled in a couple of the blanks that I was having as far as like, how am I using this audio signal to generate video? And I think his talk was great. And then they also have a series of videos on YouTube, on their YouTube channel, that is perfect explanations.
It's kind of funny because Lars, even during his talk, said like, he purposely worded things to not be a commercial, but it ultimately like definitely sold you, and I'm sure many others in there on his stuff. So
yeah, I mean,
it's kind of cool.
Admittedly, I was already halfway there. Like this is something I've been looking at for a long time and had been interested in. Yeah, that's all I have for that aside. Again, this would probably be a lot more interesting if this wasn't a entirely audio medium.
True. So I did go against, as I mentioned, my no spending in October plan. Got the noise engineering Ataraxic Iteritas.
We're looking at it right now. Holy shit, I did not realize how many cables you have plugged into it.
Yes, it kind of likes to be modulated.
It's getting worked over, right?
So yeah, it's the big brother to the Ataraxic, what's it called? Translatron, I believe it was.
Yeah.
Translatron.
Which is like chippy Atari style.
Yeah.
You know, I do wish it still had that digital readout screen though. That would be nice for the waveforms. But yeah, it's pretty nifty. I've only had it for about 2 days now because I bought it during the Perfect Circuit Halloween sale. Mm-hmm. And then it took FedEx like 2 weeks to ship it to me for some reason. I was supposed to have it last Saturday, and then it just kept getting delayed and delayed. But yeah, now that I have it, I tried to dive into it on Friday night and last night. It's nifty. It's not like percussion based, you know what I mean? Like the BIA or anything. Like it doesn't have an onboard envelope or VCA.
Is there any way we can get a sample of this? Because
Listen to this.
So one of the things that caught my attention when I first saw it was the comb filter.
Yeah.
So
It's
how
pretty
does that sound?
cool. It's pretty cool. It's like yeah, I don't know. Like I haven't had a chance to dive too far in. It's not like very resonant or anything, you know what I mean? But it's cool because I don't know. I've been using it for the last 2 days to generate like high pitched percussion stuff. You know what I mean? I keep running it through VCA and things like that, using it like a snare. And the comb filter helps to like bring out those upper harmonics and suppress the lowers and stuff like that. It's a neat feature to have on there, and it's definitely fun to CV have it do crazy stuff.
Yeah.
But
so is that what you imagine you're using it is mostly for percussion?
yeah, because that's what I used to use the little guy for. You know, the old Ataraxic. Yeah, I had that primarily as like a noisy chiptune snare. You know what I mean? I almost always had it patched up like that. And this is now like a more interesting version of that. So I can definitely see using it in a percussive way also.
Cool.
And it's got the 3 modes, 3 algorithm switch, CV-able, and the 3 octave ranges, similar to the BIA, also CV-able. It's pretty cool. Only thing I don't like about it is, once again, like a lot of the newer noise engineering stuff, the pitch is a endless encoder.
Oh.
Yeah. I'm not a huge fan of that, and I get their reasons for doing it, but again, it's just not for me. It's hard to dial in sweet spots on the pitch like that. You know what I mean? But overall, I think noise engineering got another winner here. Mm-hmm. It's definitely the sounds that come out of it are unlike much else that I can think of off the top of my head. It's pretty unique, pretty glitchy. It's advertised as an over-the-top glitch oscillator, and I think I would agree with that.
That sounds very appealing.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's fun, and it's crammed into a pretty small package.